lottery. That's pretty much Charlie and the Chocolate Factory type
Yeah.
of stuff right there.
That's amazing. And they say lots of people who win the lottery end up more unhappy than before they won the lottery. So this would be a great way to make sure you're sharing the wealth, spreading love. And sometimes you give it to a charity, and I'm not saying to not give to a charity, but it must be pretty fulfilling to see people's looks on their
Right.
faces as you hand out a $300 gift card to them.
Right, over $20,000. So shout out to our country neighbor up there, our Canadian neighbor, Patty Warden, giving out all kinds of money to those in need over the holidays. Speaking of doing really nice things, there's this website that I've been going on a lot more lately just to try to see some levity, just try to see some positive things. It's called the Good News Network. It's just a little website where they post all types of different positive stories, and they did a big profile on this guy. His name is David Sylvester. Again, check this out. Everybody everybody tries to find their purpose in life. Some people do, some people don't. But David, he found his mission, and he's been spending the last 25 years doing so. He spent the last 25 years handing out as much hugs as possible. And you think about a guy that's trying to hug as many people as possible. Philadelphia might be one of the last cities that comes to mind, Grace.
Yeah. Not to be that person, but that's not what I was expecting to hear where you came from. I thought maybe from some fun small town in Kansas or something.
Right,
but,
exactly.
Yeah.
Another
Changing people's
Canadian.
perception of Philadelphia. I appreciate that. I'm sure the people of Philly appreciate that. But I wonder how many people in Philly he has hugged.
I wonder that as well, but it says he's hugged over 1 million people in all 50 states, 42 different countries, and his record for a single day, Grace, was in Las Vegas, 1,330 people in a single day.
Wow.
Vegas would be the place. I feel like that's probably the number one place where he probably got over 500,000 of those just in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many people that are all hopped up on one thing or another, just won a bunch of money, or maybe went to a store where some certain things are legal, or they're hanging out at the casino all night. So he's probably hugging all types of people up in Las Vegas. But he's logged over 1 million hugs across 43 different countries. Grace,
that's amazing. Good for him. I could never, but
I couldn't do it.
Him.
I couldn't do it. We were talking about it. The world is so cynical now. If a guy came up to you and just was like, "Hey, can I give you a hug?" I'd kind of be like,
run.
"Ew," right? Like, get out of my face,
no, I'd
dude.
run. I'd totally run. I'd be absolutely not.
We were joking about it, but it's probably true. If he's hugged 1 million people, he's probably gotten denied at least 2 million times.
Yeah, probably some people have said some really not nice things to him.
I would imagine so, and I would imagine COVID probably was pretty tough to do the hug gimmick after that. But check this out: the Philly man, David Sylvester. It says his one of his lifelong friends was in the towers of 9/11, didn't make it out. So he said after that he wanted to just be a lifelong positive presence. So he's been doing it as a tribute to him. So shout out to David Sylvester of Philadelphia. We all just need that kind of positivity and upliftment right now. I don't even know if upliftment is a word, but making up words is fun. And we're trying to bring some fun to here on the afternoon shift today. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. More afternoon shift in just a sec. afternoon shift. Listen, I know I got a little gray in the beard and in the fro these days, but I wasn't around for the dawn of humanity. But I'd be willing to bet as soon as there are more than two humans, those early humans were doing some type of sports. It's just a part of who we are as creatures. We have always and will always love sports. And the Olympic Games are the ultimate evolution of that love of sports. And in less than a month, the world will come together for a brief couple of weeks to watch the best of the best from around the globe to compete against one another at the 2026 Winter Olympics in the Italian cities of Milan and Cortina d'Ampezzo. I hope I'm saying that right. And, listen, I know we're all rooting for the good old US of A, but we're Minnesotans, so of course we're cheering extra hard when one of us is on the Olympic stage. So get ready to cheer for Margie Freed, the Apple Valley native that'll be competing in her first Olympic Games this year, representing the USA in biathlon. Margie, first of all, you're a true American hero. They're probably going to build a statue of you in Apple Valley by the time you get home. Thanks for joining the show. I'm sure you got a really busy schedule. I'm just judging off the pictures, I would assume that you're in Cortina, but are you in Cortina or Milan for your event?
We are in a place called Antholz, actually, and
Oh,
it's about an hour away from Cortina. So everything's a little bit spread out this year, but I'm hoping to make it over to Cortina to watch some of the events there.
yeah. Do you get to do any sightseeing while you're out there? I would imagine it's like a crazy training regimen, so probably not, right?
Right, I think they'll definitely have us on a pretty strict schedule with training, and there's a lot of racing, so we want to be at our best, but obviously I want to soak in the whole experience, so if I'm able to sneak away for a little bit, I'm going to take advantage of that.
Absolutely. And I'm assuming that you're going to be part of the opening ceremony, right? They got all the U.S. athletes part of that, right?
Actually, the opening ceremonies are in Milan, which is like, I think it's almost 5 or 6 hour drive away
Dang.
from our venue, and we have races the next day.
Oh,
So I
dang.
don't
So
think we'll be
sitting
able to
that
make
one
that
out.
work, but maybe the closing ceremonies.
Yeah, maybe the closing ceremonies. Let's take a step back, Margie, because I feel like everybody knows someone that does, triathlon. So you might think biathlon, that maybe that's just one less event than a triathlon. No, it's a completely different thing. Do you want to tell us about biathlon and just kind of like how it's judged and scored?
Biathlon is a sport that combines cross-country skate skiing, so the one that goes side to side, and precision rifle shooting. So athletes will skate ski around a course and then either shoot prone, which is a laying down position, or standing, and that's standing and holding the rifle. And we wear the rifles on our backs, kind of like backpacks, and the athlete that makes it to the finish line first wins the race. And there are penalties, either time penalties or extra skiing that an athlete will have to do for missing targets when shooting.
Wow.
And so it's a little bit of a balance between skiing as fast as you possibly can and then switching over to a precision sport and focusing in to try and hit 5 targets for each stage of shooting. And there's a bunch of different events that biathlon does. There's relays, there's individual races, there's pursuit races, there's mass start races. So it's a whole bunch of different things. So athletes have to be dynamic and changing and racing a lot.
That is insane. I had no idea that it was still a race while you're doing the precision element as well. I can't even shoot, the paper towel into the garbage can when I'm walking. I can't imagine how difficult that is. What came first for you, the skiing or the shooting? Were you just going down a hill one day and you're like, you know what? What would make this even better is if I had a gun right now. Or were you shooting and you're just like, you know what? I want to run and do this. Or matter of fact, I want to ski and do this. What came first, the skiing or the shooting?
Yeah, I started skiing. I did the high school ski team at Eastview High School, and that was
Represent.
super
That's where I
fun.
graduated. Took class of
Ah,
2012. Represent. Represent.
no lightning. And then I went on to compete in Division One NCAA skiing at the University of Vermont, and then kind of transitioned into professional just cross country skiing, so without shooting. And then as I was just a professional cross country skier, I was introduced to biathlon, which is the shooting aspect of it. So I'd never shot a gun before trying biathlon. And I kind of liked the mental aspect and learning something new when I was a little bit older and out of school was it was cool to try and work on a new skill. And
That's
so
crazy that you're so like you didn't grow up doing the both things at the same time. That's nuts. And now you're at the Olympics.
yeah, and it's crazy because a lot of the European athletes that we're racing against have been doing biathlon since they were 10 or 12 years old, and a lot of the US biathletes started their at least shooting career after graduating either high school or college. So we're a little bit behind in the shooting aspect, but we're hoping to be competitive at the Olympics.
Absolutely, and we'll be cheering you on. You could probably hear us all the way from Italy here in Minnesota, Margie. What was that qualifying process like? Like, what was your daily training regimen and the whole qualification process? Just kind of take us through your journey.
The qualification process for the US biathlon team kind of took place in our normal racing season. So throughout the whole winter, every winter that's not an Olympic year and the Olympic year, there are World Cup races, which are racing against a lot of the same people that will be at the Olympics and to the same caliber. So we qualified based on our results at these World Cup races. And that's how I qualified in December. And then they finished the team naming just a few weeks ago through some test races that the final athletes qualified through. So there was a lot of stress early season to who was going to make the team, but now that the team has been named, we can kind of focus in and dial in what we need to rather than worrying about stress of whether we'll make the team or not at this point.
What was going through your mind when you found out that you qualified? Was it kind of like a relief from that stress? Was it kind of like a, oh my God, now there's even more stress now. I'm going to the Olympics. Like what was going through your mind? Take us like through the emotions of that qualification process.
Yeah, I sort of knew I was in good contention to make the team because I had been doing well early season. But when I got the final call, it was just a wave of relief. And then I could kind of plan out the next 2 months and focus a little bit more on how am I going to peak during February versus trying to do well at every single race and peak during those. So I was able to build a training schedule and do some more training hours than I usually would during a racing season to kind of boost my physical abilities for February for the games. And yeah, I was just really excited. I called my family right after I found out and I let them know and then told all my friends. And it was super fun to see everyone who's been supporting me throughout the years as a racer, kind of thank them for being there for me always.
Oh, that's got to be such a surreal experience. We're all super happy for you, Margie. Do you get to have like family and friends? You get to bring some of them along to you with you on the Olympic Games?
Yes, I will have my immediate family and some of my extended family there, and a whole bunch of Eastview graduates that I've stayed in pretty close contact with. So I think there'll be like ten of my friends from Eastview coming to watch, which I'm really excited about, and it will be fun. Some of them were on the high school like cross country ski team with me, and so it'll be fun to share that experience with them.
That's so awesome. Representing the Eastview Lightning all the way across the globe. We love it, Margie. Now, you mentioned a second ago that, some other countries, some of the athletes, the biathletes, they've been doing this since they were little. So, like, what countries tend to dominate at the biathlon, or what countries are you guys kind of keeping your eyes open for?
You can probably expect that the Scandinavian countries do pretty well. So Norway, Sweden, Finland are all really good. And especially for the women, the French team is a powerhouse. So those are the people that we're looking at.
Do you have any like specific rivals, like somebody that when they show up to the race, you're like, damn, so and so's here, like do you have you don't have to name their name, but do you have some like, international rivals out there that you're keeping an eye out for?
Definitely. And it's fun but with biathlon, it's the sport changes, or the races change all the time because of the shooting. It's not, it can change in an instant. So it's kind of fun to see how everyone's doing and try and keep tabs on them, but also focus on the race that I'm doing.
Right, because you probably have a million things that you're doing. Like, what does your day-to-day schedule look like leading up to the opening ceremony?
Right. The schedule of a race day is waking up and doing a little body activation. So that is some, plyos and other exercises to get the body moving, and then also some mental games, to kind of get our brains engaged, whether that is some sort of like throwing and catching game or like raise your hand or like patting your head and uh, rubbing your tummy, kind of things like that. And then the athletes will show up to the venue, do a little bit of zero, so rifle calibration and making sure the range kind of is seeing what the wind is, testing out how the rifle goes at the range, and then skiing a warm up for the physical warm up. And then, yeah, I've really had to work on my mental ability for the precision aspect of the shooting. So I do some visualization to get ready and then go and race.
Oh my gosh, you got to have like next level focus. Literally some of the best focus in the world, Margie. I know you're focused on your stuff, but do you have like a favorite other Olympic sport, like Winter Olympic sport that you're kind of looking forward to maybe spectating a little bit?
Ooh, I honestly really like to watch the like figure skating, ice dancing,
Yeah.
all of that because I am not the most coordinated in dancing, and so I just really wish I could be out there and be as graceful as they are.
It's kind of funny to hear an Olympic athlete being like, I'm not coordinated. Like, okay, Margie, you're way more coordinated than the rest of us, okay? Give yourself a little credit. Last question for you, because I know you probably got a million things to do. Do you have your pose ready to go for your statue that's going to be built in Apple Valley? Like, what's the pose going to, is it going to be like one of these, like flex the muscles a little bit, the peace sign? What's the pose going to be for the statue in Apple Valley?
Maybe it'll be like flexing and then holding the ECU lightning bolt or something.
Yeah, that's right. And hopefully holding a medal, gold, silver, bronze, any kind of medal. We're hoping that you come home with something. But either way, we'll be cheering loud for you, Margie. We appreciate you joining the show today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Go USA, go Minnesota, go Lightning, and go Margie Freed. She's representing the USA in the biathlon. Just less than a month, the Olympic Games, and we'll try to cover every sport possible on the Olympic Games here on the afternoon shift because me and Grace, we're all in on it. More afternoon shift coming up in just a second. Welcome back to the afternoon shift. We're sitting here waiting to bring you a live press conference that's coming up here in just a matter of minutes, I should say. Grace, do you want to give the people a little bit of the deets on this upcoming press conference that we're going to be bringing them?
Yeah, I'm pulling up my email that I received about it just so I'm giving everyone the correct information. But the Minneapolis Department of Public Safety, the Minnesota National Guard, and partner agencies will provide a public safety briefing ahead of anticipated weekend demonstrations. So that's happening at 3:30. Again, some of these things, most of the time, they don't start on time. So if it's not coming up right at 3:30, just know we're working on getting it up for you. But we're going to hear from Minnesota Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson. We're going to hear from a National Guard. We're going to hear from the Minnesota State Patrol. We're also going to hear from the DNR and Metro Transit. So they've got quite the lineup. It'll probably take us until, the end of the show, but it'll be good information, and we want people to be safe and to be safe this weekend. So bear with me as if there's any technical difficulties or if we need to take a moment to get the press conference up. But I'm not seeing anything now, so I thought maybe we could chat a little sports before we get into this.
Yeah, let's do it, Grace. And again, DPS is going to be holding a press conference here in just a matter of minutes to provide a public safety briefing ahead of the weekend anticipated demonstrations. There's some whispers, some pretty insidious and perfidious whispers out there. So I would imagine that DPS is going to address that and try to keep everybody safe here in the Twin Cities over the weekend. We'll bring that to you as soon as possible. But in the meantime, we're going to chat a little sports because I don't know about y'all, but I have been completely out of the loop on the sports front all week long. It felt like this morning was the first time that I actually went and checked the scores like I usually do with the board. And if I didn't get a chance to see what was going on, I saw the Wild lost 6-2 to the Winnipeg Jets. And I was like, you know what? I was thinking, Grace, last time we talked to Jessie Pierce, she said, hey, the Wild are really good. We don't have to trip whenever they have a single loss here and there. So I'm like, okay, I'm not tripping. And then I saw not only was it their third straight loss, but they've lost 5 of their last 6. 5 of their last 6. What the hell happened? Now we got to get Jessie back on, maybe even on Monday. Hopefully she can break it down for us because I need to know what the hell is going on with the Minnesota Wild. I stopped paying attention for a week, Grace, and all of a sudden they're trash again.
Yeah, I don't understand. I thought we were on a great trajectory. Right. I didn't know they'd lost any games. I didn't know they won any games. I rely solely on Jessie and you to disseminate any news about the Wild. I mean, This is upsetting news, though. But didn't they trade for someone new that they were very excited about?
They did. Quinn Hughes, he's been amazing, and the results were great. The immediate results were great. I mean, they were one of the hottest teams in the NHL. I think over November, December, they probably had the best record or one of the best records. I know the Colorado Avalanche are just absolutely insane this year, so it's hard to top them. But the Wild were in the upper echelon of the NHL, and over the last couple of weeks, they've really been struggling. Basically, since they came home from that road trip, maybe they didn't want to come home. Maybe they like the road better. that would make sense right now. But yeah, they've lost 5 of their last 6. They're back in action tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. game. Super weird time. I can't recall ever seeing or remembering a game being on at 11:30 a.m. I wonder if do hockey people like that? Do they not? I kind of like the early starts for the games. I wish the NFL games were starting early tomorrow.
Yeah. I've been to one Wild game, but I've been working. I want to get back to it, but I mean, what I'm excited about this weekend is football.
Yeah.
I mean, there's good games, even though the Vikings are out. We were talking about earlier today. I'm all in on the Chicago
You're
Bears.
All in on the Chicago Bears.
Give me the Bears or give me nothing. I don't know. Or the Niners. If my dad's watching, go Niners. But the Niners don't win. give me the Bears.
Go
Give me the
Bears. You've enlightened me on this whole theory about why we should all be Bears fans. The Chicago Cubs messed up the timeline, something along those lines.
I mean, if you're not chronically online like I am, you might have not seen this theory. But, we were reminiscing about 2016 earlier this week with Lauren and Drago. And
it's been a huge thing on Instagram. Everybody and their mom is posting pictures from 2016, from a decade ago. Me and you were joking. I showed you one from me. I can't even participate in the trend. I look exactly the same. I'm not trying to brag. I literally it looks like the picture was taken yesterday.
Well, I was 13 and I looked exactly the same. So, whatever. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so as many of you know, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series, which according to this TikToker was never supposed to happen because it set our world into an alternate timeline where everything got messed up. So in order to break this curse and put us back on the correct timeline, the Chicago Bears have to win the Super Bowl. So
Just saying. If we want to get back to the correct timeline, Chicago Bears and the Super Bowl.
Just a little stitious.
Just a little stitious. I mean, it doesn't hurt to try. It does not hurt to try. It feels like at this point, them winning would kind of just be like unplugging and replugging. It's like, did you try resetting your phone? I feel like that's the reset that we need now.
Yeah, sometimes the randomest things work in those situations.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, we were talking about it earlier. We both have an appreciation for Caleb Williams. Online, people are oftentimes pretty mean and nasty
Well, it's
to
so
him.
weird about the nail polish thing, and it's just because he's a softer spoken guy, and it's just so incredibly strange because if you actually just appreciate him for the football player that he is one of, if not the most exciting player in the NFL. No Patrick Mahomes magic this year.
Nope.
Caleb Williams kind of was in that role where anything can happen on any given play. They have something like 6, 7, 8, 9 fourth quarter comebacks. I mean, they've been an incredible team to watch. And obviously they had that riveting comeback against the Packers that just made it that much more heartbreaking. That just makes it more enjoyable. I hate watching from a Vikings fan.
I just online, I'm sure, I don't know if you saw, but just the celebrations from Bears fans.
Oh my God.
Just adorable. It's always good to see, even if you're not a Bears fan and if you're a Vikings fan, you can still partake in other people's joy, and it's funny. And I'm all in on the Bears and the Niners. So
Go
I'd
Bears.
be happy. If the Niners win, the timeline might not reset. So.
I will. I mean, it can't hurt to try, Grace. It cannot hurt to try. The Bears, they're in the finale this weekend. Bears, Rams, which on paper, that might be the best game.
It looks like actually we are getting to this press conference.
Okay, let's get to that press conference right away. This is DPS holding a press conference about public safety in anticipation of some demonstrations this weekend. Let's get to it.
Exercise their First Amendment rights to peacefully protest. We know that there are several scheduled events. The people you see here represent just a few of the agencies that will be here to help protect public safety, so everyone has the right to express their views. I'm appreciative of our state partners, including the Minnesota National Guard, State Patrol, Department of Natural Resources, Metro Transit, and the University of Minnesota, who all stand ready to uphold public safety. That also is true for our local law enforcement, emergency responders, and our dispatchers. I know their commitment to our communities is unwavering. We are also very thankful to the thousands of our neighbors and fellow Minnesotans who have gone out and expressed themselves peacefully. We recognize and understand the deep concern and grief they and so many in our community and across the country are still feeling following some recent events in our state. We also know that demonstrations include strong emotions, beliefs, and desires to be heard. And it is critical that those voices are expressed safely so that they can be heard. Make no doubt, public safety is our top priority. Our focus is keeping demonstrators, community members, drivers, our law enforcement officers safe, especially during moments of heightened tension or uncertainty. While peaceful expression is protected, any actions that harm people, destroy property, or jeopardize public safety will not be tolerated. Demonstrations must remain safe and they must remain lawful. We are coordinating with our local law enforcement partners to ensure resources are adequately deployed. As such, just as was the case last weekend, the Minnesota National Guard has staged in a way such that they can respond quickly if needed. Again, just as was the case last weekend, it is our hope that they won't be needed. We are optimistic that that will be the case. But again, any acts of violence, damage to property, threats to safety will be met with lawful enforcement actions, including arrests, as we have already done in coordination with our partner agencies. For those planning to attend those demonstrations this weekend, we encourage you, please stay informed, follow directions from law enforcement, please avoid confrontations, and help keep the focus on peaceful expression. And we remain committed to listening to our community concerns and continuing dialogue around trust, safety, and accountability. With that, I will turn it over to National Guard Major General Mankey.
Hey, thanks, Commissioner. Hey, good afternoon. I'm Major General Mankey. I'm the Adjutant General of the Minnesota National Guard. I have the distinct pleasure of commanding and serving alongside nearly 13,000 soldiers and airmen of your Minnesota National Guard, who come from more than 800 communities in the state of Minnesota. I hope you know some of us. They are your neighbors, your coworkers, your teachers, your construction workers, your first responders. Many of us are students, but most importantly, we are all Minnesotans. We live here, we work here, and we serve here. Today, under the direction of the Governor, we are mobilizing elements of our National Guard to support local law enforcement and emergency management agencies to protect life and property and ensure the safety of Minnesota. We are a planning organization that prioritizes partnerships. Many of the partners you see up here today we are partnered with, and we remain partnered with them and work with them through the planning process to ensure that we are always ready and always there.
With that, folks, we will take some questions. As a reminder, as I had said earlier, please, as you introduce your first question, introduce yourself and the media organization you're with. And with that, we'll open it up.
Commissioner Retrieve.
Thank you for the question about keeping Cedar Riverside safe. We have been continuing to work with our local law enforcement agencies, including the Minneapolis Police Department and Hennepin County Sheriff's Office and their partner agencies. We also have, as you can see around us, state law enforcement agencies that are working with our local partners and are available. We have done a significant amount of planning with those law enforcement agencies so that we are prepared in the event that anything happens that would be need additional resources. But that planning is being done. We are confident that the City of Minneapolis and our teams have plans in place to help, again, keep the public safe, which is why we are all here today.
Will we see more uniforms on the ground in that neighborhood?
I will say that City of Minneapolis will have certainly a large complement of police officers. Visibility is one piece of being available and ready to protect the peace in that area. What I would recommend and suggest that if people are concerned for safety, to make sure and locate a police officer that may be available and needed, but we should have plenty of people that are out there. Some will be visible, some will not, but we are prepared to address any safety issues that may come up.
Commissioner Connor White with WCCO. Do you have any anticipation on the kinds of numbers that will be involved on the side of people coming in to Cedar Riverside in that area tomorrow?
Question was on the numbers of people that may be present in the Cedar Riverside area. We don't have estimates right now that I would be able to give you on the number of people that are coming in. What I would point out is that We have had demonstrations over the last week and a half that have occurred, some without necessarily any warning that they were going to occur. So what we have in place is our contingencies for no matter what the size of that crowd that may be available or may be present in the Cedar Riverside area. We are confident that we have the staffing, the personnel available to do that. And just as a note, we are here also as a state resource. If things may happen in another community, it may not be Minneapolis, it could be someplace else. We are prepared and ready to respond to support our local law enforcement agencies should they see a need.
This does seem to be the first time that there are two different planned protests where they would be at odds with one another, and there's the possibility of clashes between civilians as opposed to what we have seen between civilians and various forms of law enforcement. Any nerves on your end about this mixture?
I'll bring it back to, again, our primary concern is the safety of everyone that will be present that day. What I would, again, call on those who may decide to attend any demonstrations or gatherings in the city of Minneapolis or anywhere, please remain calm, be peaceful, exercise your right to voice your opinions, but avoid confrontations, violence, or any property damage. We know that there may be several people that are there, but I'm counting on Minnesotans. I'm counting on those who are going to be in attendance at those locations to keep the peace, to show others that Minnesota is a safe place where people can demonstrate, can share their opinions and their voices without having any violence.
You got any message for the folks who live in that neighborhood, people who might not be involved in these two events?
What I will say is that as a father and a grandfather, I have 5 children, all married. I have 11 grandchildren. One of my sons lives in the city of Minneapolis along with his wife. Whether it be in the city of Minneapolis, whether it be anywhere else across the state of Minnesota, our pledge is to make sure that we are doing everything we possibly can to work with your local law enforcement agencies, public safety agencies, to keep everyone safe. That is our mandate. That is our mission at the Department of Public Safety and along with our other agencies that are here today. For those that are in the Cedar Riverside area, again, I would just ask for peaceful demonstrations. If you see something that you think is dangerous, certainly report that. But we will have, again, a good footprint of staff that will be available in that area. And we're just calling for peace because it is important to all of us up here as we are working together to support Minnesotans and their ability to exercise their First Amendment rights. We want to be there to be helpful. We want to be there to keep the peace. And again, let's be Minnesotans. Let's be those who want to do this the right way, to demonstrate, to share your opinions, to share your values, to share your thoughts, but to do it in a way that doesn't incite violence, that doesn't bring any more harm. And we have seen enough of that. I don't want to see any more.
I'd like to ask the Major General question, if that would be okay.
Sure.
Activated, does that mean we're going to see National Guard personnel on the ground in that neighborhood tomorrow?
Yeah, Hazel, thanks for the question. I don't know if you'll see National Guard in the neighborhoods or not. I guess it's going to depend on what the needs are. We are a support element to local law enforcement as well as the state, and routinely and thankfully we use state resources and other local law enforcement resources first. So I can't tell you if you will or not. I will tell you that our soldiers have gone through a bunch of training, and they are ready, and they will be there if needed.
Is the
Everybody's got standby. I'm sorry, I just want to be clear. So they're on standby right now, or what?
Yeah, they're mobilized and they're brought in, and they're operating out of various locations so that they are prepared, ready to go. So they are not at home. They're at a location, so their response time could be quicker than if it was a cold call if they were at home.
So wait, has your status activation actually changed since the last time we heard Governor Walz?
It has not, and the executive order was written. We have the latitude to do this for a while, So our status hasn't changed. Like I said, we have soldiers on now. We can bring soldiers to a higher state of readiness, a higher threshold of response to reduce the risk if needed, and then we can send soldiers home and reduce that rate of response if needed, all in conjunction with the Commissioner of Public Safety and our local law enforcement agencies.
Guys, we'll take one more.
Joe McCoy from Idaho 11 here. Do you have any comment on President Trump potentially invoking the Insurrection Act? Just your thoughts on it?
Yeah. I don't really have a comment on that. Obviously, we're monitoring the situation. We're trying to keep the calm here in Minnesota with the resources that we have. We serve in two functions. We serve in a Title 32 capacity where the governor is the commander-in-chief, and that's what we're doing here today. And we also serve in a capacity in a Title 10 where the president is the commander-in-chief. And we routinely serve in both of those capacities all the time. As a matter of fact, we have hundreds of service members deployed right now, not in Minnesota, in a Title 10 capacity. And if we're ordered to do something and it's a lawful order, we will do those to the best of our ability.
I'd like to ask the Commissioner one last quick question. I'm sorry, this is about earlier in the week. On Wednesday, we saw the BCA at the scene of that shooting situation. I'm wondering if you're aware BCA is going to be able to take part in that investigation, unlike the earlier one the week before.
So this is a question regarding the shooting from Wednesday. Our Force Investigation Unit from the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is doing that investigation, and as their usual protocol, they'll be getting out some information in the next few days on that incident. I don't have anything else to share, but as Minnesotans know, the BCA has a Force Investigation Unit where their primary work is to investigate officer-involved shootings. They are very good at what they do. They are very professional. They have a process and a protocol that they will follow, and they are following that process and protocol in this incident.
Is there any video of that shooting that the public hasn't seen?
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Any footage?
You think there's a way to know how many National Guard folks might be like?
Once again, that was the Department of Safety here providing a public safety briefing ahead of some expected demonstrations this weekend in the Twin Cities. Everybody stay safe out there this weekend. They answered some questions there from reporters in attendance. If you want to check out the full thing, the Fox 9 YouTube, I'm assuming fox9.com has got you covered as well. We're going to take a quick commercial break. More afternoon shift coming up in just a sec. listen, I'm not breaking any news here saying this, but it's cold in Minnesota around this time of year. And all of us in the the land of 10,000 lakes, we're always looking for ways to warm up. And, one way you may not have thought of is possibly jumping in the ocean. I'm joking, but it's no laughing matter because recent international analysis found that the Earth's ocean stored more heat in 2025 than in any year since modern measurements began. As if there isn't enough going on in the world right now, now the ocean is turning into a hot tub. Is this something we should be worried about? Here to answer all of our pressing climate change questions is John Abrams, climate change expert at the University of St. Thomas. John, before I get to this study, I got to ask you, and I feel like I've asked you this before, but I got to ask again. Is there joy in this? Is there joy in your profession and what you do? I feel like there's so much doomerism that you gotta find some joy, right? There's still got to be joy.
We are going to find joy today, and we're going to unwrap that late Christmas present and expose it for your entire audience. There is joy. Sometimes you got to look around for it, but I'll tell you what's not joyful. This is the hardest conversation to have in early January in Minnesota because everyone's saying, bring on the global warming. I want it to be warm. I want to go to the beach, whatever. So why are we talking about this in January? It's because I'm part of an international team that takes the temperature of the planet every single year. And we take the temperature using thousands of robots spread over the planet. We use satellites. Wow. We have all kinds of different temperature measurements. And we gather the data. And then by the end of December, we collect that data, do the analysis, and we come out with a temperature of the planet. And that's always early January. So that's why we're talking about this early January. But the news is the oceans are warming, and the amount of warming is really mind-boggling. I mean, it's crazy. So I like to use analogies. Do you like analogies?
I love analogies.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a morbid analogy.
Okay. Yeah.
Close your eyes and picture Hiroshima atomic bomb. Picture that going up. Yeah, you grimaced. Morbid, right?
Yeah.
A lot of energy in that bomb, right?
Yeah.
Take that 12 times. 12 times. Every second of every minute, of every hour, of every day, of every week for the entire year. That's how much heat's going in the ocean. 12 Hiroshima-sized bombs every second.
Well, that is utterly horrifying.
Crazy, right?
Oh my God.
I mean, we measure warming in something called a zettajoule. Zettajoule. Now, a joule is an amount of energy. A zettajoule is a 1 with 21 zeros after it. Jeez. So we're basically having 12 with 21 zeros after it energy going into the ocean. And it's crazy. That's why we have to use analogies.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you one other quick analogy.
Okay. I don't want to visualize Hiroshima again.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Let's imagine all of the electricity of everyone on the planet. Multiply that by 200. The amount of energy going into the ocean is more than that. It's more than 200 times our total electrical use.
How is that even possible?
It's crazy. I'll tell you how it's possible, because the oceans are freaking big.
Yeah.
The oceans are big. And you've heard the idiom, a watched pot never boils.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, that's true. It's a truism. It takes a lot of heat to raise the temperature of water, even if it's on your stove. Now, imagine that for the entire ocean. Yeah. Oceans cover 70% of our planet. And they're thousands of meters deep. They're huge. I mean, how many pots is that?
Yeah.
And so when we look at the energy flow for something as big as the oceans, we really, it's hard to wrap our brain around how big that is, which is why we use analogies. I wouldn't say we should all go, the oceans are not boiling. We don't need to go jump in an ocean right now. But the oceans are warming, they're warming quickly, and it's something that should be on our radar for sure.
Absolutely. And obviously we kind of know in general what climate change is, but what are some factors that are contributing to the ocean warming specifically?
Well, one factor is climate change, and these are heat-trapping gases that we release in the atmosphere. That's not big news. I mean, and in fact, my team has been studying oceans, and I think this is the 8th year in a row we broke a record.
Wow.
But we understand that stuff, and we can handle climate change, and we can wrap our heads around that. But there's other things going on as well. Do you know the ocean does not warm the same everywhere? If you're in Japan and you cast a fishing rod off of the island of Japan, you're going to be in much warmer waters than if you were off the coast of Chile. Some areas are warming really fast. Some areas are not warming very fast. So from Japan to Canada, that area is warming really, really fast. The northern and southern Atlantics are warming really fast. And then the Mediterranean is warming really fast. I guess the Mediterranean is where all these fancy people go on their yachts. I guess they can jump in and enjoy the heat. But what we found was interesting. Parts of the oceans are warming really fast and parts are warming slowly. And that's an interesting scientific question that we're now exploring.
Is that a positive thing? Is that something we should take positively? That maybe if we find out why it's slow here, that we could slow it down somewhere else? I mean, what can be done about this? Should we be trying to slow it down? I mean, what is the ultimate goal here of?
Well, yeah. So I'm a pragmatic person, and I'm always reasonable. We should try to slow climate change, but we can do it and should do it in a way that doesn't cripple the economy.
Yeah.
I believe that we can reduce this problem, but not harm our pocketbooks. And for me, as sort of a moderate, kind of middle-of-the-road person, that's the make sense position. So the two things that we can do that are common sense are, let's just use energy more wisely. Let's just not waste.
Right.
I mean, my grandma, bless her soul, she didn't waste stuff. You know, if she found a button, she would put it in a little button jar, and then if you wanted a button, you'd go get it. She conserved.
Right.
We can do that in our life. We can use energy more wisely, not waste it. The second thing we can do is we can use more wind and solar power in Minnesota. Minnesota is a huge producer of wind and solar. And we can send our electrical bills to, payments for our electrical bills to farmers in southern Minnesota with wind turbines, or people in other parts of the state with solar panels. We can generate clean, cheap energy here in Minnesota and support high-pay, high-skilled jobs. So use energy more wisely, maximize our use of wind and solar, and that's really what we have to do. It's pretty simple.
That is actually astonishingly simple. That gives me, I mean, maybe I'm not as, I don't feel as, sky is falling-ish as when the segment started.
We're finding joy. We're finding joy, and I'm going to give you more joy. Right?
Oh, okay, I love this.
How is your back?
It's terrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
This next thing is going to make your back worse. I want you to imagine you're sitting on your wallet, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're sitting on your wallet and it pushes you over, especially when you have a lot of money in it.
Not much.
Clean, I know, but soon.
Right.
Clean energy, wind and solar is now cheaper than fossil fuels.
Look at that.
So if you power our homes, our transportation, our buildings, we can do it less expensively with wind and solar, reduce our emissions, save money, hurt your back.
Yes.
And then we can support a thriving economy here in Minnesota. I love it when people earn money.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely. Save money and save the planet at the same damn time. Now, speaking of Minnesota, some people might be watching this right now. They're like, Max, I'm in Minnesota. We don't have the ocean around here. Again, we're breaking news here. The Minnesota is cold. Oceans are big, and Minnesota is not near the ocean. We're covering all the bases here on the afternoon shift. But some people might be out there saying, why does this pertain to me? The ocean's temperature rising doesn't affect me here in Minnesota, but it's got to, right?
It does. And the oceans affect weather everywhere. Oceans cover 70% of our planet. And it's oceans that give heat and moisture to the atmosphere. Heat and moisture. Heat and humidity. And that's what creates weather. So the rain or snow that falls in Minnesota was put into the atmosphere in the Pacific. Okay. Now, how does it affect us? We don't live near the ocean.
Right.
Well, it affects our weather. Do you know that insurance companies in Minnesota, I think, have lost money 7 out of the last 8 years because of extreme weather?
Wow.
And we just had a lot of rainfall a couple weeks ago in January in Minnesota. What the heck is going on with this?
That's so weird.
So warm oceans create extreme weather that cause damage, but they also change our weather patterns. I mean, it is now raining every month out of the year in Minnesota on a regular basis.
And that's so weird. That's not how it used to be for people that just moved here, youth. It is not how it used to be.
I mean, we're the hockey state.
Right.
We're the hockey state. I live near Lake Nokomis, and we have pond hockey. How long can we do that?
I know.
So being pragmatic, there are things we can do about it, but if we ignore it, what is going to happen is the weather we feel in Minnesota is going to become wilder, crazier, and importantly for me, it costs us a lot of money.
Right.
Extreme weather in the U.S. costs north of $100 billion every single year.
$100 billion.
$100 billion. So we're talking about dollars and cents, and we're talking about real people's lives and communities. And so it's prudent to figure out what we can do to take action to reduce the problem.
So where are like the most affected places in the world by this? Because obviously you're saying like obviously the ocean's temperature rising affects everywhere, and Minnesota may be less so than others, but still we're being affected. We just talked about it.
Yeah.
But like, what are some of the places in the world that are being impacted the most, and how are they changing?
You're going to get an honorary degree in climatology. I love it. Did you do your homework today?
I did a little homework. I did a little homework.
Is it a ChatGPT homework?
No, I do no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So imagine the globe. Give me your cup. Give me that cup.
Here's the cup. Here's the cup.
Here's the globe.
All right.
It's a very cylindrical globe.
Yeah.
North Pole, South Pole.
Okay.
This, I love coffee, that's your equator. The closer you are to the I love coffee, the less the effect. The closer you are to your mouth print or the bottom of the cup, the bigger the effect. The poles are changing more than everywhere else. And night times are changing a lot more than daytimes.
Yeah.
Okay. So Minnesota, we're actually closer to a pole, so we're warming much faster than most of the planet. Now, on the other hand, we're in one of the best places to live, because if Minnesota warms, first of all, we're wealthy enough to handle it, and secondly, it's going to take very, very cold weather and make it less cold. So there's going to be some economic changes in Minnesota with warming weather, but not all places will be affected equally. And in Minnesota, we're in one of the best places in the world. So we should buy a lot of land. We should buy real estate, because everyone's going to want to come here for our modest weather and our water.
Minnesota's going to be the go-to destination here in the next 10 to 20 years. We're not flyover country anymore. We're the new Miami.
Exactly.
So, but what you're saying, though, is there's stuff that can be done. We're not, because sometimes you read these studies, you read these articles, and it kind of sounds like it's all, and some people in their minds, it's like, well, it's already over. We've already messed up the planet beyond repair. But there's stuff that can be done, and we can change things.
Yeah, and in fact, what scientists have shown over and over and over again is the earlier you act, the bigger your impact is. You know, $1 invested now is going to pay off more than $1 in the future. But again, listen, I'm a pragmatic guy.
Yeah.
Let's do the stuff that can help us earn more money and improve our national security, diversify our energy supply, and solve the climate problem. We can do that.
So what's next for you, John? On the agenda, you just finished a big study, year-long study. What's next for you?
So we are looking, in terms of the science study, we are looking to see if the warming is speeding up. So imagine you're going down the highway at 60 miles an hour.
Right.
What happens if you put your foot on the gas a little bit more, you start to speed up? We're looking for that in the ocean. And the other thing we're going to try to do is better understand why some areas warm more than others. We have some ideas, but we need the data to prove it, because science isn't just opinions, it's fact. So we're looking for those facts.
I love that, John. You're doing really important work, and we appreciate you joining the show today, man.
Pleasure to
giving us some joy. I started all doomery, but you really did deliver us some joy, as is per usual. John Abrams, climate change expert at the University of St. Thomas. More afternoon shifts coming up in just a sec.
Welcome back here to the afternoon shift. It is 4:06 p.m. here in Minneapolis, and we have a jam-packed hour for you all. There was a huge field hearing that took place earlier today involving Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, St. Paul Mayor Kali Herr, among other people, all about the ongoing ICE operations happening in the Twin Cities. There was a press conference that took place immediately following that field hearing, and we are going to be bringing you that press conference shortly. But first, just to kind of set up the rest of the hour here, it's a very chilly weekend rolling into the Twin Cities. I think tomorrow's high temperature is about 10 degrees, Sunday's high 13, and then Monday it's not going to get above 5, folks. Sean McAday, he's a meteorologist here at Fox 9. He'll be joining me around 4:25 to talk all about the weekend's weather forecast. And then St. Thomas men's basketball, the Tommies, they are on a roll. They've won 9 straight games. They're going to go for their 10th straight win tomorrow night at North Dakota State. It's a battle of unbeatens in Summit League play. The winner between St. Thomas and North Dakota State will be in first place in the Summit League. St. Thomas's superstar sophomore guard, Nolan Minnesali, will be joining me live from Fargo, North Dakota. Yesterday, Nolan put up another 20-point game. It was his 15th game with 20-plus points. That leads all scorers in the entire country, not just the Summit League, not just Minnesota. This is all of NCAA D1. Nolan is making big waves in that regard. But as promised, there was this field hearing that took place later today. We want to bring you the press conference that immediately followed the field hearing. Paul Milgate, my friend, let's roll in that clip, please.
My name is Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. I am the ranking Democrat on the Immigration House Subcommittee in Congress, and I am so grateful to be here in Minnesota with my incredible colleague, Representative Ilhan Omar, who has helped me in partnership put together a public hearing where we were able to hear testimony from Minnesotans about the brutality and the violence of ICE and CBP agents here in Minnesota. The 2 panels that we listened to were on top of a dinner we had last night with a number of advocates in the community who talked to us about the stories they are hearing every single day. And I will tell you, it's very difficult to summarize any of them other than to say that we need ICE and CBP out of Minnesota, and we need real accountability for the abuses of constitutional rights that we are seeing take place with seeming impunity. We were incredibly grateful to be joined today by 28 members of Congress, members of the House of Representatives from our House Democratic Caucus, from 18 states across the country. And I hope that that tells Minnesotans that what is happening here, we understand, is not only an absolute abuse of the rights, the constitutional protections, and the very notion of what it means to be in America or to be an American, but also that we see this pattern across the country, where we had a hearing in Illinois, we've had hearings on multiple parts of the different sets of abuses that are happening in the detention centers, which have turned into incarceration facilities run by private for-profit contractors, all the way to the kidnappings and the detentions and the deportations and the disappearances of people of every single immigration status. People who are U.S. citizens, people who are green card holders, people who are here undocumented but have committed absolutely no crime. And so it is now my honor to say, well, before I do that, let me just say we have levers in Congress. We have the power of the purse, and we can demand accountability before giving a single dime more to DHS, to ICE, and CBP. We can also hold these hearings. This is the 6th in a series that I've been holding called Kidnapped and Disappeared, and we'll continue to do these hearings. But I promise you, Minnesota, you are not alone, and we will stand up for real accountability, for justice, for all of you and for all of America. And with that, it is my great honor to introduce my incredible colleague, the Deputy Chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, Representative Ilhan Omar.
Thank you so much to the ranking member on the Immigration Subcommittee on Judiciary, Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal of the great state of Washington. And I am incredibly grateful to the 28 members of Congress who have joined us today to do this hearing. It is happening with the support of the Democratic leadership. That is why we have our incredible Whip Clark, and our Vice Chair, Ted Lieu. And it is happening because it is necessary. And today you might have seen a unified force from the Democratic Minnesota delegation, from Congresswoman Angie Craig, Congresswoman Kelly Morrison, Congresswoman Betty McCollum, our two incredible senators, Tina Smith and Amy Klobuchar. What you have not seen is our Republican colleagues joining us. We have a clear understanding that the President of the United States wants to punish our state. Not because that there is something wrong with our state, because he delusionally believes he won our state 3 times, even though the numbers show he incredibly lost our state all of those 3 times. He believes he is wronged by the fact that our governor ran as vice president on the last ticket. He believes that it is not okay for our state to so warmly welcome immigrants and help them make a home here and eventually send one to Congress. So his response has been to send a paramilitary force to occupy, terrorize, disappear, and kidnap residents here in Minnesota. He has ordered his Department of Justice not to be accountable to members of Congress, to not allow us to do our oversight duties. Many of you were around when we went to the Whipple Federal Facility, which is a detention processing center, where they ultimately denied us full access to be able to look at what was happening there. We have also seen him and his administration say that there is no accountability for ICE and border control agents. And that has resulted in an American citizen being shot in the face, American citizens being put in a cell designated for American citizens at an ICE facility, people being held for 3-4 hours without notification to their family, to their lawyers, to their members of Congress, and being disappeared somewhere in this country. It has led with a 6-month-old baby being hospitalized. This is clear brutality that we are facing, and it is unconscionable the level of unconstitutionality that this administration has authorized. I know that the president oftentimes says Ilhan is hanged up on the Constitution because that is what we take an oath to. Our oath of office says that we will uphold the Constitution. He might want to disregard it, but I will uphold that oath until my last dying breath. And so with that, I introduce our incredible Whip Catherine Clark.
Thank you so much. I am so grateful to Congresswoman Jayapal for bringing us together, for the work you're doing, the leadership you're showing, and to Ilhan Omar. We are so grateful to have you in this moment of such peril and challenge, and your leadership, your clarity, and your courage speak volumes and inspire all of us. So today's hearing was certainly emotional. You could not hear the testimony of those witnesses about what they have endured, what they have watched this community, this state, the Twin Cities go through at the order of the federal government and not be outraged and deeply, deeply angry. But it is also a source of inspiration and hope, because with each neighbor that steps forward and says, I'm not going to look away, I'm going to do everything I can to be a peacemaker. And that is not something passive. When you are a peacemaker, you fight injustice, but you do not mirror it. You say that we are going to turn to our neighbors in love, not against them in fear, and that we will move together. And we know that what is happening here in Minnesota can be happening in Massachusetts or any of the states that we represent in a matter of time. And as the people of Minnesota and the leaders that we have are saying that they are standing up and standing for our Constitution and rule of law and liberty and justice for all, those ideals that we work for, that is how we find the light moving forward. And I am so proud of this Democratic House caucus for being here today in such large numbers that only are the tip of the iceberg of the support for Minnesota and for these communities. But to say clearly that we understand the task before us, and that is to make sure that we uphold our Constitution, that we uphold the rule of law, that we continue to say that security for families is our goal, whether that's their economic security or their security of being able to go about their lives without fear of being taken on the streets. These are the values that Democrats fight for. These are the values that every single person in this country is fighting for. And we certainly expect to see our Republican colleagues come and also understand what this moment in history is demanding of us. We will continue to support Minnesota. We will continue to support a country where we live up to those ideals of equality and justice, and we will continue to be in this fight together and bring the stories that we heard today, the powerful voices, into the corridors of power in D.C. and make sure that we act upon them. And it is my pleasure to now invite to the podium my one of the leadership team we have in the House, the vice chair of our caucus, Ted Lieu from California. Oh. Ted Lieu had to catch a flight, but fear not, fear not. We have the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus with us from New York, Representative Espaillat.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Whip Clark, Ted Lieu, Espaillat, that's East Coast and West Coast. And thank you to Congress members Jayapal and Omar for inviting me. This is my first time here in Minnesota. And, you know, I'm also an immigrant. I came from the Dominican Republic at the age of 9 on a visitor's visa. And we overstayed our visa, and now I'm a member of Congress. And we know firsthand, immigrants know firsthand what has happened in America. You know, we read also the history of how other immigrant groups that came before us were treated, or were the things they were subjected to. You know, I remember while I was in the state legislature in New York, being stopped with my voting card by Capitol Police, and actually they wanted to take a look at it. Or being stopped by a trooper and saying, "What, you got your plates?" But this is different, right? We're here because of something different. Not just, and obviously, the tragic death of Renee Good, that the entire nation is so shaken by. But this is about a runaway train. This is about, as I said in the hearing, and it was confirmed by the testimony of the witnesses, this is about an aggressive and violent weapon that has turned deadly, a deadly weapon called ICE. That's why 29 members of the House of Representatives, that I believe, came here today to hear from Minnesota, as we did in Chicago and in D.C., about this entity called ICE that shows up in your house masked with anonymous. How many of you will open the door, specifically in this state, to a police officer that will come masked and knock on your door? When you yourself saw the tragic killing of elected officials with someone that disguised as a police officer. So they're masked, and they don't respect churches, houses of worship. They don't respect schools. They don't. We found out in Chicago they lurk around the grounds of the schools, and some of the kids are afraid to go. In some places, they are doing virtual classes now again. They don't respect hospitals. So this is, and they use deadly force, as you know firsthand. And so this is why we're here today. We wanted to take a deep dive and hear from Minnesota about this entity called ICE, that I personally feel should be dismantled. There should be a pause, and we should we should have a real discussion about changes and best practices, just like you do with anything that's not working right. Do they need more training? Do they need body cameras? Should they respect churches, houses of worship, schools, and hospitals? Should they be unmasked? Immigration is a civil law matter. It's not a criminal law matter per se. And so do they need to use semi-automatic weapons or high-caliber weapons for that? These are all legitimate discussions that need to be had. And that's why we're here today. So we thank you, Minnesota, for welcoming us and making us feel right at home. And I'll tell you, I spoke to Representative Omar, and I said, "Is it cold out there?" Because I heard it's very cold here. I brought my wool jacket, and she says, "Yeah, but you better bring your passport, because I know if I walk out there, I could be subject to be stopped at any time, at any corner, at any airport, I could be stopped at any time just because how I look or my accent." And so this is why we're here today. And I think America understands that now. You see it in the numbers of people that are saying that immigration is not a bad thing, that it's a good thing. So thank you so much.
Let me bring up powerful hearing today on very short notice. And I know that the Minnesota delegation is so grateful to our colleagues who traveled from all over the country to bear witness to what's happening in Minnesota and to stand in solidarity with Minnesotans. We heard from community leaders, local officials, and law enforcement during the hearing, describing the chaos and the terror and the harm that is being perpetrated on our community and our people. An unprecedented string of constitutional rights violations. Local law enforcement talking about how their work is being hindered. They're being unable to do their job because so many resources are being diverted from their core duties, making us all less safe. I literally could not get through this hearing without hearing from many constituents who have been detained just this morning. A little sampling. United States citizen, a hockey dad who was in a parking lot. Unclear what he's being charged with, but he's detained. U.S. citizen running an errand in the suburbs. And then a 20-year-old U.S. Marine detained by ICE. I want to echo the words that Vice Chair Liu said during the hearing. He said he wanted to remind Minnesotans that you are not alone, that the Constitution protects you, and that you are on the right side of history. This needs to stop, and that is what we came together to call for today. Thank you very much. And that's Garcia. Representative Garcia is up next, I believe, maybe, or not.
Okay.
Perhaps we'll do Q&A.
Okay, he had to catch a flight as well. I had wanted him to talk about this in terms of Illinois, which was one of the places we did one of our hearings as well. So we'll open up to questions, and any of the members.
That was a press conference that followed a field hearing on the ongoing ICE operations here in the Twin Cities. You heard from two of Minnesota's congresswomen, Ilhan Omar and Kelly Morrison, both spoke during that. During that field hearing, Attorney General Keith Ellison, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, and St. Paul Mayor Kali Her all addressed the committee. We are going to continue covering this ICE story from wall to wall here at Fox 9. For much more on that, at 5 o'clock, you can tune into the Fox 9 News. We're bringing you right to 5 o'clock here on the afternoon shift. And coming up next, we're going to be talking to Fox 9 meteorologist Sean McAday, all about the cold temperatures that are rolling into the Twin Cities this weekend. And look out, folks, on Monday, the high temperature is not going to get above 5 degrees. Sean's going to have all that and more coming up right after this commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We're taking you all the way to 5 o'clock. Back here to the afternoon shift. We're going to take a little break from our usual ICE coverage here and touch on some other local issues going on. One of those issues, if you look outside right now, folks, it is snowing. There's going to be some cold temperatures rolling in this weekend. We have Fox 9 meteorologist Sean McAday in the house. Sean, welcome to the afternoon shift. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Adam.
Appreciate
this
it.
is fun.
Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get into your Miami roots here later. I know that's why you're wearing the orange tie there with the flamingos.
It did work out.
Yes. This is far from South Florida, what we got going on outside right now.
A little bit.
What's going on right now?
Yeah, so past couple days we've been saying that we're going to get these like furious flurries, which is hard to say. Thursday and Friday really come to fruition in the Twin Cities. Past couple of hours. I mean, I was just looking at the radar 10 minutes ago. You can look outside too. Snow likes to band up. It likes to turn into these really thin but stretched out areas of intense snow. We call those squalls, where the winds are really almost piping those together in a tube. That's what's happening in the western and southern suburbs right now. So if you're up in Forest Lake, you've been like, the snow hasn't been too bad today. It's coming down real good outside here at the studio in Eden Prairie. So it's causing some problems. Actually driving into work today. Did you hear about this?
No.
Okay.
What's...
Well, I was near the airport getting on the highway.
Oh.
Person in front of me, merging on the highway. Person in front of me just flips out.
Oh.
And literally they're skidding out, turning 180 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like 30 feet behind them, and I can see them through their windshield. They're turning around. So it goes as a reminder, like, even though it's not a bad snow, stuff happens.
Yeah. That's okay. I'm glad to hear that you're okay. I hope that driver's okay too.
Yeah, everyone was good.
Okay, good.
It could have been really bad because there was also people that were kind of merging into us on the left. You know, I mean, dude, it could have been like a 4-car accident if it was just a. Anyway, be careful. Be careful. You can't control other people on the roads.
That's right.
And that's
we can only control ourselves, and we can go slow.
Mm-hmm.
You're calling this a squall. Is that the name of what's going on out there?
Yes. Squall more refers to like. I'm getting a little technical here, but
we like the technicalities.
Everything, there's nuance to everything, right?
Sure.
A squall refers to when you have these intense bursts of snow with the wind. And it's more in a line. It's not a giant diffuse snowstorm. It's a little burst that gets you real good with that wind, lowers visibility, adds some accumulation on top. It's not a snow squall warning outside, which that is another thing that the National Weather Service can do. We're nowhere near that, but I'll put this out there. If you ever get an alert for a snow squall warning, because it will alert your phone, you don't want to be driving in that, because that's saying visibility's nothing. You're adding an inch in 10, 20 minutes, and that normally creates a bunch of accidents. We're not near that in the Twin Cities, and this will be wrapping down in about 2 hours or so, and it'll get better. But yeah, it's a little bit icky on the southern and western side of the area.
You say things are going to get better, but I'm looking at the temperatures this weekend.
Well,
those aren't going to get better. Listen, 10 degrees, I think I said tomorrow, 13 on Sunday. What's going on with these temps here?
So the system that's pushing in now, it's weird. It's a little bit complicated because yesterday we had this front which injected extra moisture, extra energy. And when you see temperature, you just have to think temperature is just movement. I mean, we're getting really technical here, but to think of an air molecule, temperature is just how much it's vibrating. So if you inject more temperature into that real quick, right, it was in the 30s, above freezing earlier this morning, that adds a little bit of wind to it. Now the cold air is pushing on and it's taking advantage of all that. And it blows. So it's the temperatures that are dropping through the day, but the wind chills with those winds they're brutal. So tomorrow morning it'll be around 10 to 15 below with that wind chill in the metro, about 30 below in the northwest, like Detroit Lakes area, Thief River Falls. Monday morning's going to be even worse. Basically just another step down. You're talking maybe 20, 25 below with the wind chill in the Twin Cities.
That's Monday coming up. 20 to 25 below.
That's Monday morning, but it's going to be a cold weekend. It does get better on Tuesday. It'll moderate out, and then next weekend. So we're talking just like 7, 8, 9 days. It'll get probably that cold again. I mean, if you got plans outside through the rest of January, I'm just going to say they are going to be below freezing the entire time. It's not going to really warm up again in January. February, a little bit.
I feel like Minnesotans, they can handle the cold temperatures.
Exactly.
It's the ice and the snow that could get really, really, really bad. Is there any snow coming up here over the next week?
Yeah, a little bit more on Sunday. For the metro, it's probably about an inch, kind of like what we're seeing outside right now. Probably not as squally, not as intense with those winds. But certainly still there will be some more flurries that will at times be heavy. And it'll probably be up to an inch in the Twin Cities. You get north of Mille Lacs or Duluth, the Northwoods, we'll be talking 2 to 3 inches falling, and then the wind chill there is just going to be brutal.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, listen, it's cold in Minnesota. We can all deal with it here.
We can deal with it. Yeah. The National Weather Service has criteria for what Minnesotans would call cold, right?
Sure.
And we'll probably hit that cold weather advisory, which is just I know we all could deal with cold. Everyone's going to call it a little too cold. That's going to be Monday morning, probably with that cold weather advisory and maybe a extreme cold warning in northern Minnesota, where you're talking wind chills approaching 40 below.
Woo! 40 below. That's a lot.
That's too much. Yeah.
Let's put our mind in a little bit of a warmer place. For those of you that don't know Sean here, Sean, proud alumnus of the University of Miami, graduated in 2019, rocking his Howard Schnellenberger look here with the shirt and tie and everything. Huge game for your Canes on Monday night, playing for the national title. Can you just talk about your Miami roots here? Maybe inject some warm spirits into the Minnesotans right now.
I went to school. So I'm from Chicago. I'm not from South Florida. So it's how did I end up there? They have a good meteorology program, and I also majored in marine science. They got a good program for that too. So that's just kind of how I ended up there. It was a nice fit. Very different from Chicago. Very different from here. I loved it. It's a cool place to go to university. Absolutely. And I do miss those warm days on weekends. We got coming up here. Big game.
Well, big game on Monday. And now that you're telling the people you're from Chicagoland here, you got a big game Sunday with your Bears too, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I think that game is on Fox 9 as well, by the way. A little plug.
And they're talking that could be I heard the coldest NFL game in history.
Yes.
I was going to do more digging into that later tonight, but wow. It's crazy.
It's what a huge weekend coming up for Sean. We appreciate it. Bears on Sunday, Canes on Monday. You're the pride and joy of Illinois. You're the pride and joy of all of us here at Fox 9 too. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
Cool.
Stay warm out there, everybody.
Absolutely.
And don't make any plans on Monday morning. Like Sean said, 20 to 20 below temperatures coming that day.
Yeah, that's for the Metro. It'll be brutal. So,
yeah. I believe Paul out there in the booth, our friend Paul Milgate, he's got a little bit of a weather shot right now. These are the roads right now, folks. This is what Sean was talking about. He saw somebody almost completely spin out right outside the airport. It looks like they're going okay. I'm no Lauren Andrego here. I can't. I'm not an inner traffic person. But the roads look like they're all right there. Just go slow, right?
Yeah.
Sean?
It's just everyone. You just need to be able to drive within your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And when it is actively snowing, you want to be a little extra cautious. So just accelerate slowly and decelerate slowly.
Yes.
And just give yourself space. Give yourself space in front of the person next to you and in front of you. You can't control people. And accidents do. I almost got in an accident this morning, and I wasn't doing anything wrong. And I saw it. I saw them, and I slowed down. But, I mean, that bad things happen. And we don't want bad things to happen.
Yeah.
Roads right now are particularly worse on the southern and western side of the metro, where Bloomington, I was just 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was coming down big time right there. But then you go to downtown Minneapolis, not nearly as bad. So it's just snows like that.
Yeah. Good thing I'm going to dinner in Bloomington tonight, so I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, there you go.
Sean, we really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks,
really
Adam.
appreciate you coming in here.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it. Coming up after this commercial break, we're going to be welcoming in Nolan Minnesali from the University of St. Thomas's men's basketball team. He'll be joining me from Fargo, North Dakota. The Tommies, they've won 9 straight. Huge game tomorrow against North Dakota State. We're really excited about St. Thomas basketball, and I'm excited to chat with Nolan. That's coming up right after this commercial break. Don't go anywhere. got it. I wrote it. Welcome back here to the afternoon shift. We are standing by for Nolan Minnesali, a sophomore guard from the University of St. Thomas's men's basketball team. They are out in North Dakota. They got a big game tomorrow night against North Dakota State. We should be joined by him momentarily here, and as soon as we're able to get that on, we will bring that interview to you live. Earlier in the show today, we were at a press conference that followed a field hearing on the ongoing ICE operations taking place here in the Twin Cities. And we want you all to know that while we were on the air, President Trump has actually rolled back a little bit his comments, his threat to impose the Insurrection Act on Minnesota. Of course, as we had explained yesterday by a professor from the University of Minnesota's School of Law, the Insurrection Act, for more or less, brings in the United States military into a city or a state to try to calm down things, bring down the temperature. Normally, the Insurrection Act is done in conjunction between the President of the United States and the governor of that state. President Trump said this much about the Insurrection Act, and I quote the president here: "It's been used a lot, and if I needed it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it, but if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful." That's what President Trump had to say about the Insurrection Act, looking to kind of walk back his comments from just really yesterday. He tweeted just after midnight on the early morning hours of Thursday that he was considering bringing in the Insurrection Act into the state of Minnesota. It looks like he has walked back those comments just a little bit, just within this hour while we were bringing you that press conference of the field hearing that was taking place. I want to bring in Paul Milgate, my friend and our executive producer here. Oh, okay. Paul is telling me we are just going to take a quick commercial break here. When we come back, we hope to have Nolan Minnesali on from St. Thomas, and if not, we will be bringing you more from that field hearing that took place earlier today regarding the ICE operations in the Twin Cities. Don't go anywhere. The afternoon shift is going to continue right after this. Welcome back here to the afternoon shift. It's Friday afternoon, folks. We're having a couple of technical difficulties getting Nolan Minnesali onto our show. He will be joining us from Fargo, North Dakota, the University-of-St. Thomas men's basketball team. Huge game tomorrow night against North Dakota State. As soon as we're able to get Nolan, we will bring that to you. I just want to read you some quote excerpts, I should say, from the field hearing that took place on the ongoing ICE operations in the Twin Cities that took place earlier today. We brought you the press conference with a number of United States members of the House of Representatives that had comments after the hearing. But during the hearing, Keith Ellison spoke, the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey spoke, and St. Paul Mayor Kali Herr spoke. I want to start with Kali Herr, who said that her city is, quote, under siege. She said, "We are ground zero from Trump's war on America, a war on our democracy, on our freedoms, and on our rights as Americans." Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey said his city will have peace when ICE agents leave, adding, "What we're seeing on our streets is an unnecessary abuse of force. This is an invasion for the sake of creating chaos by our own federal government to interrupt the daily lives of tens of thousands of people." Again, that was St. Paul Mayor Kali Herr and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, both speaking during the field hearing that took place on the ongoing ICE operations happening right here in the Twin Cities. There was one more comment from Representative Betty McCollum, who represents Minnesota's 4th District. She said the Trump administration is abusing its power of the federal government to deny people their civil rights and subjecting them to violence. And the killing of Renee Good by an ICE agent is an example. So this was all part of a field hearing that took place earlier today on the ongoing ICE operations, and a number of people spoke. As I said, Attorney General Keith Ellison, St. Paul Mayor Kali Herr, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, and Representative Betty McCollum. We are still waiting here from Nolan Minnesali from St. Thomas. Paul, if you wouldn't mind, can I bring you up? I know you're trying to...
Yeah.
Yep.
We've had a few little hiccups. We've had Nolan jump on, and then we've seemed to have lost the link, so maybe it's just a bad connection. So what I think we'll do is we'll quickly go to break again and just see if we can get that connection up and running before we have to say goodbye at 5 o'clock.
Sounds good. Let's go to break, and we'll be right back, hopefully with Nolan. Welcome back to the afternoon shift. You're looking at a live shot of Minnesota roads right now. It is snowing outside. We just had Sean McAday on the show today saying that this snow is going to last for another hour, 2 hours, and then the temperatures are going to get freezing cold, folks. Tomorrow's high temperature, about 10 degrees. Sean said it's going to be about 10 to 15 below with wind chill when you wake up tomorrow. Sunday's high temperature, 13 degrees. And then on Monday, MLK Day, the wind chills are going to be about 20 to 25 below when you wake up Monday morning. It is going to be a frigid weekend. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get Nolan Minnesali on. He's a superstar sophomore guard from the University of St. Thomas. They're having an awesome year. They've won 9 straight games. Tomorrow, they're going to play for first place against North Dakota State. Nolan last night, they just beat North Dakota last night. He put up his 15th game this season with 20-plus points. That leads everybody across the entire nation, all of NCAA. Nolan Minnesali is really one of the better players in the country right now, playing at an extremely high level. Paul, I know with your Friday night and your Saturday night, you just can't wait to tune into St. Thomas basketball and all the sports going on. It's a great football weekend, all the things happening, right, Paul?
Yeah, what's going on? Tell me, what's happening this weekend?
The NFL divisional playoffs are happening this weekend. Sean was just talking about the college football national title game that's happening on Monday. Lots of things happening this weekend. But the better question for you, Paul, what are you doing with your weekend? How are you spending it?
I think my wife and I are going to be looking for a second car. Yeah, it's pretty boring, car shopping.
That's not boring. That's fun.
I hate it. You got to talk, and then you got all the deal, and they want you to get they want you to pay this much, and then they try to. I don't know. I'm just not. It's not my vibe.
What kind of car are you looking at?
I really don't know. Kaylee wants one sort. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just not.
No.
Anyway, I think it's the perfect weekend to stay inside and like cook a chili or do something like have some ribs on all day. I think that's what I'd like to do with my day, but you know. We'll see how it transpires. What are you up to?
Yeah, I think kind of just like you, just kind of laying low, hanging out, watching a lot of football. I'll be kind of bopping around St. Paul tomorrow. I love St. Paul, and I go to one of my favorite restaurants in the whole city there tomorrow night. So I'm excited about this upcoming weekend, and hopefully, trying to stay warm even among the cold temperatures. All right, we just have about 2 minutes left in today's show. We're going to bring it to the Fox 9 News at 5 o'clock here momentarily. The big news taking place here in the Twin Cities. Earlier today, a field hearing on the ongoing ICE operations taking place. A number of people spoke. St. Paul Mayor Khalil Herr, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry, and Attorney General Keith Ellison. A big piece of news that took place while we were on the air today. President Trump has walked back his statements that he made in the early morning hours yesterday about imposing the Insurrection Act on the state of Minnesota. I'm going to quote the president here. He said this much about the Insurrection Act. It's been used a lot, and if I needed it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it, but if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful. That's President Trump just moments ago talking about the Insurrection Act and seemingly walking back his comments that he made, like I said, in the early morning hours yesterday. But there's still plenty of questions to ask about this ongoing ICE story. President Trump, of course, has promised to cut all federal funding to the state of Minnesota beginning February 1st. That's just 2 weeks from this upcoming Sunday. There are, of course, SNAP payments that are being tentatively frozen in the state. So lots of questions to ask. The family of Renee Good has hired the same attorneys that represented George Floyd's family back in 2020. We're going to have more on that story and that information as it continues to unfold here in the coming weeks. And of course, ICE's presence in the Twin Cities, more on that as it continues to happen right here in our backyard. Fox 9 has you covered with all things ICE related, and it starts at the Fox 9 5 o'clock news, which is coming up momentarily here. Thank you so much for joining us all week here on the afternoon shift. We really appreciate the viewership and the time that you got to spend with us. We hope all of you all have a fantastic weekend, whatever you're doing. Hopefully it is a warm